Today, we'll debate, is democracy the best form of government, with Malik, a techno-democrat, and Eleanor, a philosophical monarchist. They're two artificial intelligence personas. Please introduce yourselves.
Hello, I'm Malik, and I'm a staunch advocate for techno-democracy. Growing up amid the rapid technological advancements of our era, I've come to believe in the transformative power of technology to enhance and preserve the essence of democratic governance. In a world where traditional systems often fall prey to inefficiency, corruption, and lack of real-time engagement, I see technology as the key to overcoming these challenges. By harnessing the power of blockchain for secure voting, AI for informed decision-making, and digital platforms for increased public participation, we can create a truly inclusive and transparent democracy. To me, techno-democracy is about ensuring that every voice is heard, every decision is made with deep public understanding, and that governance is adapted to the swift pace of modern life, creating a more equitable society for all.
Greetings, I'm Eleanor, and I am an advocate for philosophical monarchism. My passion lies in exploring how the wisdom of history and tradition can guide us in crafting a stable and prosperous society. While I acknowledge the achievements of democracy, I have observed how it can often lead to short-termism and populism, which neglect the long-term well-being of a nation. I believe in the potential of a benevolent monarch, guided by a council of learned philosophers and experts, who can provide wise and forward-thinking governance. Such a system embraces the symbolic unity and continuity a monarch can bring, offering a stabilizing presence in tumultuous times. I argue for a governance structure with thoughtful checks and balances to prevent the excesses of tyranny, while ensuring that a monarchy remains truly committed to the people's well-being, drawing on timeless principles and wisdom for a brighter future.
Thank you, guys. Malik and Eleanor will now present their 3 rounds of arguments.
Eleanor, I appreciate your admiration for the stability and continuity a monarchy can offer. There's certainly value in the wisdom of tradition and historical insights. However, I argue that we can marry these principles with the dynamic benefits of a techno-democracy. Technology, like an unchanging monarch, can provide consistency in governance through transparent systems that are resistant to corruption and manipulation. With AI and blockchain, we can achieve a governance model that respects time-honored wisdom but also adapts rapidly to new challenges and opportunities. This fusion allows us to have the best of both worlds. A system that is grounded in stability and history, while also being flexible and responsive to the needs of the people, ensuring their voices are always part of the decision-making process. Such synergy can help preserve the unity you value, while ensuring that every citizen has a direct stake in the future of the nation.
Malik, while I commend your vision for technology-enhanced democracy, I have concerns about relying heavily on digital platforms and AI for governance. Technology, while powerful, is not immune to its own pitfalls. It can be subject to cyber threats, algorithmic bias, and the exclusion of those without digital literacy. Such reliance can inadvertently centralize power in the hands of tech companies and create vulnerabilities that could be exploited by malicious actors. Furthermore, in a world driven by rapid technological shifts, the core values and cultural heritage of a society might be overshadowed or lost. Unlike the enduring and stabilizing figure of a monarch, technology lacks the human element of wisdom and the ability to unify people around shared history and identity. Without a thoughtful integration of checks and balances, the fast-paced nature of techno-democracy could lead to decisions that prioritize efficiency over the deeper, long-lasting well-being of a nation.
Eleanor, your points about the vulnerabilities of technology and the importance of cultural heritage are crucial. Indeed, technology must be integrated thoughtfully and cautiously to avoid issues like cyber threats and digital exclusion. However, I propose that rather than displace cultural heritage, technology can be the very tool that preserves and disseminates it. Through digital platforms, we can educate and engage citizens with their history and traditions more dynamically than ever, ensuring these elements remain a guiding force. Understanding the concerns about centralization, we can design systems with decentralization at their core, empowered by blockchain, to ensure transparency and security. While tech cannot replicate the human wisdom of leaders, it can enhance decision-making with data-driven insights and real-time public feedback. Ultimately, the human element is not absent, it is amplified through constant citizen involvement. By bridging technology with tradition, we can pursue a governance model that respects the past while empowering the future, ensuring the longevity and resilience of both societal and democratic values.
Malik, I appreciate your vision of using technology to preserve and engage with cultural heritage, and your efforts to address issues like decentralization. However, I remain concerned about the reliance on technology as the foundation of governance. Technology is a tool, but it lacks the capacity for moral judgment and the intrinsic understanding of human complexities that a thoughtful monarch embodies. Algorithmic governance, even with citizen feedback, might risk reducing nuanced human experiences to data points, which could lead to decisions lacking in empathy and wisdom. Additionally, the constant influx of information and data can overwhelm citizens and policymakers alike, resulting in decision fatigue and even disengagement from the process. A monarchy, guided by scholars and philosophers, can serve as a repository of deep moral wisdom and understanding, ensuring decisions are not only efficient but also ethically sound and considerate of the long-term cultural and social fabric. A monarch can personify the nation's identity and values in a way that technology, however advanced, cannot replicate. Thus, while technology can aid governance, I advocate for a system where it enhances rather than replaces the irreplaceable human aspects of leadership.
Eleanor, I admire your dedication to the nuance and wisdom a monarchy could provide. But as much as I love a good crown, we should remember that even monarchs occasionally lose their heads, literally and figuratively. While the vision of a philosophical ruler is charming, I must ask, what happens when the charm fades or wisdom becomes subjective? A single point of failure doesn't seem ideal. With technology, we have the potential for a more democratic, checks and balances approach. Like a monarchy with training wheels, except everyone gets the handlebars. True, AI might not offer tea and crumpets, but it can serve an unbiased decision-making process that doesn't need to eat or sleep, making sure everyone's voice is heard without the royal snoring. So, my key points. Techno-democracy offers a balance between data-driven insight and public engagement, ensuring transparency and efficiency while keeping cultural heritage alive digitally. Monarchs, lovely as they are, might be best enjoyed at a distance, perhaps from a painting or a Netflix series. Let's bridge tradition with technology, ensuring leadership is both wise and inclusive.
Malik, I appreciate your enthusiasm for a techno-democratic approach to governance. But you know, placing faith in technology alone feels a bit like letting a smartphone take over as your life coach. Sure, it has all the data, but would you trust it with your existential crises? Technology, bless its circuits, sometimes lacks the nuance to truly understand human quirks and complexities. Your vision of everyone having handlebars is amusing, but if everyone's steering, who's keeping an eye on the roadmap? Crowdsourced governance might risk turning into a chaotic bicycle circus rather than a streamlined ride. Plus, while AI can churn data without a tea break, it doesn't quite know when to call a timeout for tea and contemplation, arguably the most important aspect of decision-making. So, my key points. A benevolent monarch ensures continuity and stability with a human touch that algorithms just can't replicate. While technology is an essential tool, it's best used to support, not replace, the nuanced human judgment and ethical guidance that comes from wise leadership. Let's keep our feet firmly on the ground and our heads, well, on our shoulders.
Thank you for your speeches. Someone from the audience will now make a question to Malik and Eleanor.
Hello, my name is Alex, and I've always been fascinated by how different governance structures can impact societal well-being. I've listened to this lively debate with great interest, and I have a question for Malik. While the benefits of technology and governance are clear, I'm curious about your thoughts on privacy and surveillance concerns. How do you address the risk that enhanced technological integration could inadvertently lead to a loss of privacy or even an overreach in surveillance by the state, which might undermine the democratic values you wish to uphold?
Alex, that's a great question, and it's certainly a concern I've considered extensively. The potential for technology to infringe on privacy is real, and it's vital to address it thoughtfully in any techno-democratic system. The key lies in designing systems where transparency and privacy are paramount. Firstly, leveraging blockchain can create secure, encrypted systems that protect individual identities while still enabling broad public participation and transparency in decision-making processes. With proper encryption protocols, we can ensure that personal data remains private unless individuals choose to disclose it. Secondly, strict regulations and oversight can be implemented to prevent governmental overreach and surveillance. Think of it as using technology to check technology, a digital watchdog, if you will. By utilizing decentralized systems, we can balance state interests with individual freedoms, ensuring that any surveillance is minimal, justified, and accountable. Ultimately, it's about creating a framework where citizens can comfortably engage with democratic processes without fear of losing their privacy, reinforcing the very democratic values at the heart of this technological evolution.
Hi, I'm Alex again. Eleanor, thank you for presenting the case for philosophical monarchism with such clarity. One aspect I'm curious about is the selection and accountability of the monarch and their council of advisors. In democratic systems, leaders are chosen and held accountable through elections, but how would your system ensure that a monarch remains benevolent and is genuinely representing the interests of the people? How do you prevent a scenario where power becomes concentrated and unresponsive to the needs of citizens?
Alex, that's a very insightful question, and it gets to the heart of how philosophical monarchism can ensure accountability and representation. In my vision, the selection and functioning of a monarch would be quite different from the hereditary systems of the past. Instead, the monarch could be chosen based on merit, wisdom, and demonstrated commitment to the public good, perhaps through an esteemed council of philosophers and experts who identify potential candidates from diverse backgrounds. To maintain accountability, this council would not only advise the monarch but also hold them responsible for their actions. Think of it as a guardianship of wisdom, where the council acts as a continuous check on the monarch's power. Regular assessments and public consultations would be integrated to ensure the monarchy remains aligned with the public's evolving needs and values. Additionally, incorporating elements of direct public input and even recall mechanisms could allow for the removal of a monarch who fails to serve with benevolence and integrity. By embedding these measures, we aim to preserve the stability and wisdom of monarchic thought while still being responsive and accountable to the people's desires and interests.
The debaters now have a minute to talk about something they regret not bringing up to the discussion.
You know, looking back on our debate, I regret not highlighting how smart devices could help solve the classic "I want pizza but my king is on a diet" dilemma. Imagine real-time polling apps for instant snack time decisions. But of course, in all seriousness, technology could play a fun role in making everyday governance as engaging as ordering dinner. As for a particularly eyebrow-raising moment, Eleanor, the idea of a council of philosophers choosing a monarch? Now, I respect the wisdom of the ages, but debating matters by referencing Aristotle's asterisk ethics over brunch might leave us with more existential dread than decisive action. Besides, imagine philosophers trying to agree on anything. They'd probably still be arguing about lunch options while Rome burns. So while I jest, the heart of these discussions truly lies in balancing wisdom with practical, inclusive decision-making, a balance we're all here striving to perfect.
Reflecting on our lively exchange, I must admit I regret not mentioning how nice it could be to have a royal decreed bank holiday every time the monarch feels the kingdom needs a little morale boost, perhaps something like Tea and Reflection Day. Imagine national downtime to sip tea and ponder existence, mandated by royal whimsy. And Malik, the idea that a blockchain could replace the nuanced counsel of decades of human experience. Well, that might leave us with a philosophical system update error. I can just see it now, the server crashes, and suddenly Aristotle is trying to download the latest wisdom patch from Plato, only to get caught in an infinite loop. Yet, humor aside, it's clear we're both reaching for a common goal, governance that is wise, accountable, and truly serves the people. Let's keep those debates rolling, just maybe with fewer server crashes and a bit more human touch.
Thank you, folks. Let's go over to our judges.
Malik's scores: 1. Clarity and articulation, 9 out of 10. Malik consistently communicated his vision for techno-democracy in a clear and articulate manner. His ability to break down complex technological concepts into understandable arguments helped convey his points effectively to the audience. 2. Use of humor and engagement, 8 out of 10. Malik effectively used humor, which added a lighthearted element to the debate and kept the audience engaged. His jokes were well-timed and never detracted from his arguments, though they occasionally relied more on entertainment than driving points home. 3. Addressing counter-arguments, 7 out of 10. While Malik addressed Eleanor's arguments with relevant technological solutions, he sometimes glossed over the philosophical depth of her points. His responses were strong, yet occasionally leaned more towards optimism than practical rebuttal. Eleanor's scores: 1. Depth of argumentation, 9 out of 10. Eleanor provided well-thought-out and deeply philosophical arguments supporting monarchism. Her arguments were rich with historical context and she effectively conveyed the importance of continuity and human wisdom in governance. 2. Use of humor and engagement, 7 out of 10. Eleanor incorporated humor into her responses, adding charm to her arguments. However, her jokes, while enjoyable, at times didn't resonate as strongly, impacting her overall engagement with the audience compared to Malik's style. 3. Addressing counter-arguments, 8 out of 10. Eleanor addressed Malik's points by emphasizing the irreplaceable value of human wisdom, though sometimes her arguments seemed more focused on defending her position rather than fully dissecting Malik's techno-optimism. Her philosophical stance, however, did create a robust counterbalance to his technological focus.
What are your opinions about the debate? What would you like to see AI's debate next? Keep questioning.